welcome to the show today. Thank you very much for taking out the time and joining us. You are with Stephen Taylor. Make sure that you are interacting on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Stephen Taylor SA is where you can find me. And today, I don't know why I'm getting nervous because I'm with Solly Moeng. I don't know if I should be nervous or not. Solly, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm very good, Stephen. How are you? It's lovely to talk to you again. It's been quite a while.
It has been. Wow. And what a different world we're living in since the last time we spoke, my friend. Wow.
We are protected behind the walls of our homes now as we do
That's
work.
right.
We try to earn a living.
Right. Yes.
So what would I call you, Solly? What is your title? Political analyst, TV advert guy, a commentator.
I'm a socio-political commentator, something like that. To earn a living, I'm a brand reputation management advisor.
Oh, wow. Okay. I saw the TV advert that you were in. That was quite cool. Was that a once-off thing that you did?
I do a lot of those things, but that's not what I want to be known for.
No. I know. You don't want to be known as the Fresca guy.
It's just for fun, I suppose.
Okay.
No, that's good. But I do follow all your social media posts and all your you do a lot of stuff for News 24, I think it is.
For staring. It's for staring. We need to stare a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
We need to get people talking, which we spoke off air about, which is important, I think. But the good thing about South Africa is that we have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, I think what I fear the most is to live in a country where you're not able to say stuff. Because there are places like that, even many of them in Africa, Russia, China, you can't say the president is a schmuck. In South Africa, you can still say the president is a schmuck, and you won't be arrested the next day.
That's right.
That's great for this country, despite all the other stuff that's happening.
So when we say freedom of speech, we actually do have freedom of speech, which is good.
Yeah.
So if we look at what's going on in the world right now, 6 months ago, I think it was around 6 months ago, we were hit by COVID-19, which has affected South Africa, affected the world. We live in a really different world right now than the one we did back then. But also in terms of the political landscape, that is changing as well. I mean, if we look at how the USA handled the COVID-19 pandemic, how Britain handled, they're going into lockdowns again. It's scary, the world that we're living in right now, Solly.
Yeah, I think the problem with the COVID-19 management around the world is that it's in some places it's been politicized. The scientists and people who know how these medical things have to be dealt with have been shafted to the side in favor of politicians who want to gain numbers and prominence without knowing what they were doing. I think that's a problem in America. I think America is even set up because for many years, it has been regarded as the leader of the West, or the free world, as it were, the leader, a country that a lot of people wanted to look up to and emulate. But I think with the current president, it's lost all of that. It's become very much inward looking, and I know that some people are happy with that. But the fact is, America has always been seen as a big player in international affairs. So people look up at it. When it fails, people start, justifying the wrong things they do. In other words, people are now able to say, well, if America can do that, why can't we do it?
Exactly. Well, that in itself is very hectic. So we've had 3.5 years, or maybe a bit more, of Donald Trump as president of the United States. In itself, that was hectic. When we got that news, I was actually at an event with the Consul General of America at that time. There was I think it was like early hours in the morning. I don't know if you were there. And the announcement came through and we were all like, the whole room just was quiet. We didn't celebrate anything. We all just left quietly and just said, what on earth just happened,
Right.
And now,
but look, in the end, countries elect the presidents and the governments they deserve in some way. I mean, if after everything that's happened, America re-elects Trump, it means that that's what Americans want, and it's a pity, but that's what they want.
You take the work that Barack Obama did and Vice President Biden, the work that they did to kind of stabilize America, to unite America, they did good work in that. But now we have, on the one side, the white elite America, and on the other side, the black America, and everyone's going, but how can we call ourselves the United States when at the moment they're as divided as they've ever been? Sorry, it's really sad.
Yeah, look, the truth is when anyone starts looking for angels, it's not in politics that one can find angels, including in American politics. So, but in politics, we must always look for the least of the devils. For some people, Barack Obama was the least of the devils compared to Trump, and other people think Trump is the greatest man ever. You know, that's the difficulty of it. Maybe it's a good thing, that's democracy. But I think, from my perspective, in terms of brand America globally, I think Barack Obama did a much better job creating a space where people could, engage with America. Trump has not created. Actually, he's broken up many of the platforms that were created before.
Yeah. So we have an election coming up on November the 3rd, an election that is definitely going to have an impact on the US, but also for South Africa and Africa as well. How important is this election for us, Solly?
Well, look, where we sit, we are observers, right, of the events happening there. But whatever happens will impact on us, because it'll impact on AGOA, it'll impact on the America's relationships with African states, with Africa. We don't have any influence on it. We should just hope that American people choose right. But I think we should also not want a president in America who will just reward bad leadership in Africa. I think that, I think America must play its part to insist on good governance, on ethical governance, whatever that means these days.
Yeah.
But also less corruption. I think there are too many leaders in Africa who deserve to have those as targeted sanctions on them. And I hope that if Biden becomes president, he won't come in and be too soft on people who don't respect governance, human rights, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that is a very important point. But in terms of the last 4 years that Trump has been in power, how much of a role has he played in Africa and South Africa? I don't think much. Am I wrong?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't introduced anything new, really. I mean, a lot of what's happening, including AGOA, was there before he came. So, look, I'm of the view that he's not the right person. But it's not my choice. But I hope that I hope that he doesn't get re-elected.
It is hectic, though, that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but he still became president. That in itself is a massive flaw in the electoral system in the USA. It's actually wow.
We here in South Africa,
the whole system of electoral colleges, and I mean that a president can win the popular vote but lose in the electoral colleges is a bit strange. It's a strange phenomenon. But look, here in South Africa, we also have an electoral system that desperately needs to be changed, because the kind of democracy we have is not what we aimed for. The fact that people who work in parliament are not really those politicians in parliament. They are not, actually, we shouldn't be calling them public representatives, because they are not public representatives. They are party representatives. We need a system where we send public representatives who are accountable to the public, to constituencies, instead of political bosses and political parties, because it's not. After 26 years, we know that the current system is not working. Something has got to give.
But I think in terms of that, Solly, there was a constitutional court ruling recently with regard to the IEC and independent candidates. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, the court has given those parties in parliament, represented in parliament, 2 years to change the system, to come back with something that will enable individuals to stand up for elections. And so let's hope that they're not going to. The only people who have something to lose from this are political parties which are already represented in parliament, because they like the hegemony, like the power. Let's hope that they're not going to take their time coming up with an alternative to this, because the fact of the matter is, if they take too long, a lot of people hope that this will happen before the next general elections in 2024. But
Yes.
people don't realize that whatever they come up with must still be given to the IEC to change the current system in the way we vote. And the IEC might come back and say, guys, this is a lot of work. I need 2 years to do this. So it could be that the changes don't get implemented before the next elections. South Africans must wake up now and start pushing for these people to get on with it. Make sure that whatever they come up with is able to be implemented for the next general elections.
I think our system in South Africa with regard to the IEC, I think they should take a tougher stance, because we've got parties like the Freedom Front Plus who are only white. We've got parties like the EFF and others that are black. We should be having a united party, a party that represents all the people of South Africa, not on race. What are your feelings on that?
Yeah, well, look, I think we have freedom of meetings how to say, in South Africa. I think the IC cannot make those rulings. What it can do is refer to the Constitution, right? If any party comes in on hatred, in my view, parties that push hatred and racial discrimination must not be allowed to participate in elections. And we know some of those parties, they are out there. So the IEC has a role to play, but we have to be very important. I think we must also push for the IEC to be a lot more independent. As things stand, the president of the African National Congress also gets to decide who becomes the chief electoral officer and the deputy chief electoral officer. But the ANC is one of the parties that contest elections. It's not right. So the IEC, the way the leadership of it is chosen has got to change. Otherwise, we are being fooled here, because is it really independent? I do not believe it's as independent as it should be, because one of the parties contesting elections gets to determine who gets employed there and how they do things.
Very true, very true. So Senegal has become a place that everyone is talking about at the moment. Before that, I had no clue where Senegal was. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's a country right in Africa. Yeah, it's not that one. Farm murders are important, but every murder in South Africa is important, I think. And I think we need to focus on all murders, because if we focus only on farm murders, then gender-based violence murders fall to the wayside. So we need to focus on all murders. Yes, farm murders are important, as are gender-based violence murders as well. And I think we need to, that's where things are, this white and black thing really messes with me, because it's not about that, it's about people's lives. And if you as a black person, Sally, are murdered, or me as a white person are murdered, at the end of the day, we're both South African. We need to look at that and focus on you as the person, not as you as the black person or me as the white person. I think that's where we're missing things at the moment.
Yeah, but I think we should also not be afraid to call things as they are. If a few months ago, we were talking about Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah.
And whenever when the discussion was on about Black Lives Matter, other people threw in, no, but all lives matter. And they were slapped on the wrist, like, you can't do that. We're discussing Black lives here. There's this specific discussion to be had. If we can do that, I think we should also be able to, the same way that we're able to discuss GBV. When we discuss GBV, we discuss GBV. When we discuss, why can't we discuss farm members? I think it's nonsense that the minute we start discussing farm members, which are a reality of this country, we've seen the pictures, we've seen the brutality with which people are being killed. It's nonsense to say we can't discuss them. Well, let's discuss first the matters in Khayelitsha or in Johannesburg. No, let's discuss farm matters, because they're happening. And while we keep running away from this discussion, while we try to play politically correct, we can't solve the problem. There's no harm. Nobody should be intimidated by having a discussion about the murder on farms, because it's happening. And denying it, I don't want to play politically correct here. In the same way that we can discuss murders of females and children, murders in townships, murders elsewhere, let's discuss farm murders without cluttering the discussion with other matters.
Okay, I agree with you on that. Also, farm murders are not only white people. There's also black farmers as well. There's also black workers that work on farms. So it's not only white people that are. There are other people on those farms as well.
That's true, but you're also trying to be politically correct there. The fact of the matter is the many pictures that circulate, of brutal people being hit really badly in their faces, raped and cut into pieces, are not of black farm matters. We're not saying those are not happening. There's a particular attack on white farmers that we must talk about. It's nonsense to be afraid to talk about these things, okay? It doesn't mean that other matters don't happen. It doesn't mean that farm workers don't get murdered. Of course we must talk about it, but we must also talk about the brutality of the killing of white people on the farms. It's true, it's reality. Running away from it is not going to make it go away.
No, that's good. I'm just opening conversation, and I'd like to hear your view. I really appreciate that, man. We have to talk about these things. I know I agree with you 100%. So then what should be done, Solly? What should be happening then?
Well, we're a very diverse country in South Africa. What we need is a leadership that's able to embrace that diversity, that acknowledges that there is not one group of South Africans that's more important or that belongs more to this country than all of us. We are condemned to live together. We are condemned to make this country work for every child, irrespective of what they look like. And if you don't have the kind of leadership, Mandela was very good at that. I don't care what people say about Mandela. Mandela was able to make everybody feel that we are part of the same family. And since Mandela left, we've never had a leader like that. Holding and embracing all South Africans doesn't mean that you ignore the sectoral problems and pains and historic legacy issues in different parts of the country. You have to be able to do all of that. That's what, if you accept to be president of a country such as diverse, as complex as South Africa, as pained, as wounded as South Africa, you have to have the right levels of empathy, of balance, of emotional intelligence, maturity to lead a diverse country like this. If you can't, then you're not the right person to lead this country. That's what we need. We don't have the kind of leadership that's able to say, I like to give the examples of Mandela once he decided to go and have coffee with Betsy Verwoerd, and people were like angry, like, you can't do that, are you crazy? He said, no, I'm going to do that. And let me tell you why it's important to do that. He did that. The world didn't come falling apart. When those people in front of him wanted him to get rid of the Springbok emblem, Mandela said, no, we're not getting rid of the Springbok emblem. The Springboks belong to all of us. We're going to. When the Chinese tried to get Mandela to prevent the Dalai Lama from coming into South Africa, he said, no, you can't. You must come here. And he came. China didn't stop doing business with South Africa. When the Americans said to him, you can't bring Yasser Arafat, Muammar Gaddafi, and Fidel Castro here, he said, no, they are my friends. They're going to come here. You're still my friend. So a leader is one who has backbone. If you don't have backbone, you're going to find yourself being pulled in all directions because you're trying to please everybody.
That's true. That is very true.
And we don't have that kind of leadership today. I don't care who's about. We do not.
As you say, everyone wants to be politically correct. I agree. We need to take the gloves off and realize that, yes, farm murders are happening. If we don't sort it out now, are we going to run out of food, Solly? Would that happen?
Well, let me tell you, if you look at Africa today, Africa is a net importer of food crops. I mean, it's a crazy situation. Africa should have everything it needs to become a more self-reliant net exporter of food crops. So it means that there's something that we're doing wrong. Okay, if we're not investing in the agrarian sector, if we don't put the right skills, the right technologies, the right investments, the right policies, the right leadership, whether it's in broader Africa or in South Africa, we're going to fail. There are countries like Zimbabwe, which used to be net exporters, food baskets. They used to describe Zimbabwe as a food basket of the region. Look at Zimbabwe today. The same things will happen to South Africa if we don't pay attention. We have to take care of our farming community. It doesn't matter whether they're black, white, Indian, colored, but we have to invest in this community, defend it, and make sure that they keep doing what they do best, because it's good for South Africa's food security, for Africa's food security, for the world's food security. We don't want to turn into a country that's able to do stuff for itself into one that has to import the most basic things. So if we don't do the right thing, we're going to end up there. Because there are many things that many of us never thought would ever happen to South Africa. They're happening today because of bad leadership. Because if emotionally, you can't lead this country with emotion. You've got to think about what's good, and you have to be prepared to make difficult decisions.
Have you ever thought of going into politics, Solly?
No.
I wouldn't be able to walk on the beach, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's not an ambition of mine, but never say never, but it's not my ambition.
Okay. Now, Solly, thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time. I always appreciate the comments, and I think we'll have a chat after the 3rd of November when the U.S. election is done. Then we can see what the way forward for us and the world is, right? I think that'll be an interesting conversation.
Steven, thank you very much. I enjoyed this. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Solly Moeng. Thank you, my friend. Take care.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you. So there we go, another episode of the show today. Thank you very much for taking the time out and watching us today. Make sure that you are interacting on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At Stephen Taylor SA is where you can find me. Also make sure that you are entering our Fight to Fame talent search. The poster is on screen right now. Make sure that you are checking that out. Make sure that you are contacting the details on the poster and that you are entering as we search for the next big star in South Africa. We're looking for presenters, DJs, musicians, whoever. Enter and be a part of this amazing Fight to Fame talent search. And we look forward to seeing those entries. Send a 2-minute video, a video of no longer than 2 minutes to the WhatsApp number that is on screen right now. And we will look forward to those entries. An amazing conversation with Solly Moeng, talking about current state of affairs here in South Africa, also in the US, how that's going to affect us here. And we thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you, Akona, and thank you to you. God bless.
We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute the vaccine. I was in the hospital. I had it, and I got better. And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that.
What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe. He says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the country to have to shut down in large part.
We have the best testing in the world by far. That's why we have so many cases. You know, someday you're going to have to explain, why did you get 3.5? I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia.
The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world.
I get treated worse than the Tea Party got treated. Because I have a lot of people in there, deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly.
Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to reduce your taxes. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China. I have not had, the only guy made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies.
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers.
Taxpayers' money.
It's what?
Taxpayers' money. Didn't come from China.
You know the taxpayer is, it's called China. Eliminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care. The Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have the House by that time, and I think we're going to win the House, okay? You'll see, but I think we're going to win the House.
Oh, he's never come up with a plan. I guess we're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan. And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide for that affordable health care, lower premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing, and have your drug prices drop significantly. Being the president, I think health care is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable health care. These 500-plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border. to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. And this is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America.
We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years, we're going to give you a court case. Yeah. They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
The fact of the matter is, there is institutional racism in America. And we have always said, we've never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. Well, guess what? We have never, ever lived up to it, but we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion.
You keep talking about all these things you're going to do and you're going to do this, but you were there just a short time ago and you guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama. I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark, but I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
To the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. He won't give federal subsidies to the gas, excuse me, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do give it to solar and wind. Success is going to bring us together.
I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me.